Everyone wants to talk about LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and James Harden. Those MVP candidates are all without a doubt balling right now, but with that being said, there's a player out there right now who's leading his team in 4 out of the 5 major statistical categories, who's the defending league MVP, who's averaging 31 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists, and who's still a handful of years away from reaching his prime. I'm obviously talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is turning just 25 years old in a couple days, and he already has a realistic shot at winning back-to-back league MVPs. He's improving every year as he continues to bully opponents down in the paint, as his ball handling and IQ continues to grow, and his range is extending as he's knocking down twice as many three-pointers as he did last season. He's arguably the most dominant player on the offensive side of the ball, while being one of the best defenders in the league as well. In a league full of teams with tandem superstars, Giannis is a lone superstar who's leading his team to have the best record in the NBA today. So with all of this being said, how is it that this guy is still overlooked, and why is it that he's not the main talking piece of NBA discussions today? Well, the truth is, there's a few reasons for this. For one, he plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, a franchise that never gets much love or attention. In today's era of social media, many people will claim that big market franchises like Los Angeles and New York are not as valuable as they once were, since fame and recognition can be attained anywhere with social media. Although I see the point, I still have to somewhat disagree with this premise. It's not just about big markets, but it's also about being a part of a glamour franchise. Houston, Dallas, and Los Angeles are not Milwaukee. The Lakers obviously have a rich history of legends. Even the Rockets have a rich history with Yao Ming, Tracy McGrady, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Ralph Sampson. Dallas has a recent history with Dirk Nowitzki and their iconic owner in Mark Cuban. So what does Milwaukee have? Well, not much. I'll give you a couple examples. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the greatest players of all time, spent the prime of his career with the Bucks, yet that's not often talked about and not often how people remember him. They remember him as a Los Angeles Laker. It doesn't matter that his best days were with Milwaukee, he's often remembered in the purple and gold. There isn't a statue of him outside of Buck Stadium, but you can find one outside of Staples Center. Ray Allen is another example. He's a legend who had the start of his career and some of his best years in Milwaukee, but it's with the Sonics and the Celtics that people remember him. Giannis has a similar situation. Unless he starts winning multiple championships, he's never going to be recognized and honored as much as he deserves as long as he's a Buck. You and I both know that if Giannis played in LA or New York, big media outlets would then do much more to push him to the forefronts of our minds. But unfortunately, in his current circumstances, he can be the defending MVP who's improved his game, who's averaging 30 points and 13 rebounds, and can still somehow be overlooked at times. Speaking of 30 and 13, the last player to average those numbers for a season was Moses Malone in 1981. He was one of the greatest and most underrated big men of all time who specialized in both of those statistics, scoring and rebounding. And now Giannis is doing his best Moses Malone impression years before he's even reached his prime. Giannis is also averaging these numbers while playing only 31.9 minutes per game. He's doing all of his damage while playing 6 less minutes per game than James Harden. That's half a quarter. In the history of the NBA, no player has ever averaged 30, 10, and 5 while playing less than 32 minutes per game. Giannis has a great chance at becoming the first. Another reason why Giannis is overlooked, despite his unique and transcendent talent, is because he hasn't got it done in the playoffs yet. A signature moment in the playoffs or a trip to the NBA Finals can be what solidifies you as that next level superstar, and unfortunately for Giannis, he hasn't had that moment yet. It worked for Dirk Nowitzki, it worked for Kawhi Leonard, and it will work for Giannis. It's exactly what he needs for him to go simply from a star in this league to someone who we can begin to recognize as the face of the NBA. I don't say this as a slight to Giannis. He's still a young player who simply hasn't broke through in the playoffs yet. It will be a slight though if he doesn't get it done this year. And by get it done, I mean a trip to the NBA Finals. With LeBron James 2 years removed from the Eastern Conference, and with Kawhi's recent departure from Toronto, the time for Giannis is now. The Boston Celtics under Kemba Walker's lead have been better than expected, And even with the departures of Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard from the Raptors, they're still winning plenty of games and going to be a top seed in the East. Throw in the 76ers and the Heat, and you have some decent teams, but absolutely none of those are strong enough in the Eastern Conference to give Giannis a pass for missing the finals this season. The Bucks are expected to finish the year once again with the best record in the East. If Giannis and the Bucks can't get past a Kawhi-less, Siakam-led Raptors or past a Kemba-led Celtics, even though the Bucks will have home court advantage, then not only will he still be overlooked at times, but there will also begin to be a stigma with him that he's simply a player who can't get it done in the postseason. This is going to be a monumental season for the Greek Freak, because it's either going to be the year where he starts to get significant stains on his legacy, or this will be the year he starts to take the torch as the face of the NBA and finally get the credit and recognition that his talent and numbers warrant. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think Giannis has to do for people to declare him as the NBA's best player. Make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys in the next